Hello Logic language learners, and welcome to another video in the vocabulary in 10 words series. Okay, before we start, can I remind you, if you need to contact me, Facebook Logic Language Learning or logiclanguagelearning@gmail.com, or you can find me on Skype Logic Language Learning, and that I am continuing my summer offer of a cheaper first 4 classes. Peak time and off-peak time, different prices, but I'm cheaper for the first 4 weeks because I always have a lot of interest in September because people start the school year. So I always have a special offer that normally runs September and October. So what we're doing today is running through 10 words that I think are really important when we're talking about school. And as per normal, there will be a sentence for each of the words. Can I remind you, everything is in the description, so every sentence, every word I say will be written out in French and English underneath, so you can watch this video looking at my ugly face, or you can watch this video reading the text as we go along, okay? Good, so we all know the word for school, which is école, so there's no point bothering with that. All I would remind you with that one is it's a really good and obvious example of how we listen out for when we've got an e rather than an e. So école, okay, with an e, okay? Good. So my first word is the word for headmaster or headmistress, or if you're in America, the principal, which is directeur, okay? So a lot of words in French are EUR. So swimmer, nageur, player, joueur, okay? So the director, the headmaster of the school is directeur. So I prepared the sentences this week. So what did I say? So mon prof s'est vraiment énervé avec moi. J'ai dû aller voir le directeur. Mon prof s'est vraiment énervé avec moi. J'ai dû aller voir le directeur. My teacher really got annoyed with me. I had to go and see the headmaster, the principal. Okay, lovely. So next word. So directeur, I write out for you. Directeur. Okay. My next word is matière. Now this is a really confusing one because this is the word for subject. So my favourite period, my favourite subject, my favourite lesson, whatever you want to call it, but it's the subject of what you're learning in school. And this is another really good example. It's not the word sujet, which is like a conversational subject or a grammatical subject, okay? So matière, we're still going above the line, we've still got an e, but notice it's long. We're not saying matière, we're saying matière. So this is this debate between this e and this e. So it's still above the line e, which means we've got an accent one way or the other, but it's going to be the long one, okay? So matière, feminine word. So what have I said? Après avoir trouvé les vidéos de Luc, le français est ma matière préférée. After finding Luke's videos, French is my favourite subject. Okay. So next word is l'instituteur or l'institutrice, which is often reduced in conversation to Instit, which is a primary school teacher. Okay, so primary being maternelle. Maternelle, bonus word, and maternal if you think about it, okay? So l'institutrice, l'instituteur is a primary school teacher, so basically education kind of under 11, okay? So obviously we have different systems in America and the US, you know, we have junior schools, we have primary schools, junior schools, high schools, but basically education under 11 is an instituteur, institutrice. So my sentence is Cette année, les enfants ont une institutrice qui est formidable. Cette année, les enfants, ils ont une institutrice qui est formidable. This year, the kids have got a primary school teacher who is great, fantastic, okay? Lovely. So, my next word is a tricky word because I hear this incorrectly used so often. The word for a class or a lesson is a cours, C-O-U-R-S. Even when it's singular, it's going to have an S. Plural will obviously be the same word. And this is the word for class that you are having with me, if I teach you, or even, this is an online class, okay? It is not une classe, okay? It's got nothing to do with class, okay? Those of you that obviously learn Spanish or, you know, Italian, then you're going to hear these words, but the fact is, cours is the word for lesson. We do also have the word leçon, which is kind of the lesson of what you're learning, or I've learnt my lesson, which is also an academic lesson, but it's not the first choice. I talked a couple of lessons ago about first choice, second choice, third choice with words. The main one is cours. So a French lesson is a lesson of French, cours de français, okay? So for example, my sentence would be j'ai mon cours de français avec Luc à 19h sur Skype. J'ai mon cours de français avec Luc à 19h sur Skype, which is I've got my French lesson with Luc at 7 p.m, okay? So consequently, where's my board rubber decided to go to? Pour essuyer le tableau, to wipe the board. Anyway, oh, there we are. So the next word is classe. When do we use classe? We use classe when we're talking about the people who are studying. La salle de classe is the classroom, the room for the class, the people that sit in there. Or there are lots of people in my class, okay? Or class, obviously, depending on how you pronounce the word in English. You know, class, class, different word. So, the sentence I've given you for this is la salle de classe est énorme et il y a 50 personnes dans ma classe. The classroom is enormous and there are 50 people in my class. La salle de classe est énorme et il y a 50 personnes dans ma classe. Okay? So the word will be classe, C-L-A-S-S-E. Okay? Good. Cracking on. Now, the next word is a word for book. Now, there's a couple of words for books which float around in French. Notebook that you write in, okay, would be a cahier. Cahier. Yeah. C-H-I-E-R. Now, this crops up in other things in French, okay, to do with administration. But un cahier, masculine, un cahier, is a notebook, an exercise book, okay? So anything you would take notes in, okay? So, j'ai tout écrit dans mon cahier, j'ai tout écrit dans mon cahier is I wrote everything in my exercise book. Not a livre. That is a book that's printed with stuff in, okay? So, j'ai tout écrit dans mon cahier, I wrote everything in my exercise book. Don't forget it's all written underneath, okay? So, consequently, livre, which is also masculine, is book. Okay, those of you that are coming from Spanish or have studied some Spanish, remember it is a V, not like libro, like with a B in Spanish. Okay, livre. Now, un livre is a pound in weight, or a pound sterling, the British currency, yeah, the pound. But un livre, so remember, both the books that you're dealing with are masculine. Un cahier, un livre, okay? So my sentence would be, j'ai lu beaucoup de livres cette année. I've read lots of books this year. Not forgetting that I've used the feminine word for year, cette année, as opposed to general en, because I'm talking about this year. Can I also remind you we have a slang word for book, which is bouquin, B-O-U-Q-U-I-N, from which we get bouquiner, just to like book up on something to read, or to, you know, I'm just going to read a book on the beach, je vais bouquiner, okay? So remember, that's a slang word, okay? Most of our slang is B. We talked about slang, didn't we? Boulot, bossé, bagnole. If you want to find that slang video, it's about 3 weeks ago. It's a really good video on slang. Okay? So my next one is another false friend. Those of you that study Spanish will know this as well. Education in French is not just academic, okay? If you say, I mean the word education, I don't mean in schools, it's not just academic, it's very much just academic. I always think French education is a little bit copy-paste. So the word that we need for education also serves for how well someone is brought up, and their manners. So well educated could be like, oh, what lovely table manners, okay? Il est très bien éduqué, okay? Low manners would be aucune éducation, okay? So it's talking about what social education someone has had as well. which is important, but what I mean is it's not referring to purely what you do at school. So, for example, il est toujours très poli, il est bien éduqué, he's well educated, would mean socially. Yeah, il est toujours très poli, il est bien éduqué, he's always very polite, he's well educated, okay? That's not to say it doesn't mean education, but we'd use other words like bien informé or bien, you know, to educate somebody else would be apprendre or, you know, enseigner, okay? Lovely, another false friend. Oh, and obviously the verb, can I stress, you've got the educate, the Q-U-E-R, okay? So, next problem. A library is a bibliothèque, not a librairie, which is a word you will hear. A librairie, which we will come to in a minute, is a bookshop. So, bibliothèque, yeah, la bibliothèque. If you think in English, your bibliography is the list at the end of a piece of homework of all the books you've cited from, you've quoted from. So, dans la bibliothèque, in the library, à la bibliothèque, we will often use à. You can use different prepositions for this one. So, I'm going to do my homework in the library. Je vais faire mes devoirs à la bibliothèque. Okay? Librairie is the bookshop where you buy books, not papeterie, which is where you buy newspapers, and press. I dare say some of them are crossover, you know, a lot of them sell both. So I've had to go to the bookshop to buy my books for this school year. J'ai dû aller à la librairie pour acheter les livres pour l'année scolaire. La librairie, okay? So in England, for example, in London, there's an amazing French bookshop, really cute, called Librairie La Page, the page, which is based in South Kensington. So if anybody's ever in London and they want to buy some French books, there's a really good one there. There's another great one just behind Oxford Street at the back of Marks and Spencer's. If you go back through there, Butler and Wilson, I believe. No, what are they called? I can't remember. Anyway, that you go through Marks and Spencer's, they're on the back. So anybody who's ever in London wants a brilliant multi-language bookshop, that is the good one. The French one is Librairie La Page. So, that is Librairie. Great. So all in all, let's run through our words that we've had. Okay, so we have directeur, directrice, headmaster, headmistress. Prof, professeur is obviously teacher. We'll notice how we would use prof. Okay. Instit, institutrice, we've had pronunciation. Cours as opposed to classe. La salle de classe. Cahier, livre. Education as opposed to social as opposed to academic. Bibliothèque, librairie. I'm going to give you another one, which is le lycée. Okay? So you have different words for high school. Secondary school in French, you have collège and lycée. Now, strictly speaking, a lycée is kind of more of the grammar school style system. It comes down to levels, it comes down to type of whatever. But basically, collège and lycée are pretty interchangeable if you're talking about education at your level. I'm so sorry, people are really trying to contact me. So lycée is masculine, as is collège. Lycée, okay, or collège, okay. They will be underneath. So, C-O-L-L-E-G-E. So the point is, these are the words that you will use when you're saying I'm going to secondary school. So anybody over the age of 11 who's learning French for GCSE or A-level, when you're talking about your life at school, it will be au collège, au lycée. À l'école is general. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Obviously, university is à l'université or à la fac, which is short for faculté. So I hope that has been useful. Okay, if you find this video useful, please do not hesitate to click like, to subscribe to the channel. Let me know as per normal what you would find useful for one of the vocab topics. And please say the sentences out loud, get them in your mouth. I look forward to hearing from you. Please join my page on Facebook, Logic Language Learning, because then we can message each other and you can say what you guys need. Okay, have a great day.